Hello, this is Taha.
This is Anaina.
This is Movie Masala.
And we're here to yap at you about films we watched recently.
And today we're joined by
Anu.
And we're doing
Jurassic World Rebirth.
Well, that's inhuman. Why not just euthanize them? The average cost of a created species is $72 million. What would you do? Kill it and have to tell your bank, or just carry it forward under R&D?
What would I do with mutant dinosaurs from an accounting perspective? Is that really the question?
So we have our dear friend Anu here today. Anu, do you want to tell us why you're so well equipped to talk about this film?
I think I can actually call myself a scholar in the universe of Jurassic Park, all things considered.
Amazing.
Like, I did do my dissertation on the book written by Michael Crichton.
And I did get a crash course on all the Jurassic Parks and Worlds from them last night. I think they are the expert here today.
Yes, I don't think there can be a better person apart from dead Michael Crichton himself who could be better for this episode than me.
Fair enough. Okay, so I've also had the opportunity to read some of the book. I'm not gone through all of it, but I'm sure you could fill in the gaps of my knowledge where that comes, which would be a lot. So first, just going over the plot, this is like the third film in the rebooted one, or like the sixth film in general. I'm not counting the TV series. I know it exists.
I think the TV series honestly exists in a world separate but parallel. Yeah.
So this is like the sixth film now.
Yes.
And they again go back to the island, go back to a separate island this time, somewhere in
Costa Rica. It's always Costa Rica. It is never not Costa Rica.
Yeah, the island in Costa Rica to extract some dinosaur blood, to make some cool little heart medication that could save the world. Then it just basically follows a standard Jurassic World Park plot where dinosaurs are loose, you have to escape them and get out.
Yes. I think my greater fear is that, like, this being the seventh film, it is going to return to a completely new trilogy that is independent of the previous casts of the previous two trilogies that have come before it.
And so then we're going to end up with 9 films, which brings me to the thing Anu and I have been saying for the past few days. It's like, there was no need for this film to be made.
No.
Because if it's going to produce 2 more after this, then there was even less reason for this film to be made.
Yeah.
I think this comes across my overall issue with this film, but I don't think this is necessarily a bad film in any way. I think it might be better than at least the last one they made, but it doesn't do anything definitive. It feels so like this had to be made. Even their idea of dinosaur fatigue, which firstly, I want to add, zoos have already existed in the real world, right? People just don't get tired of looking at a giraffe, even if they do it once a year. Right, I do not just see people getting tired of dinosaurs. That is film just making a more of a commentary on itself. But again, it just feels like this film has nowhere to go and just is rehashing a plot that it's already done before.
It should have listened to itself and retired.
100%. It's not even that I think it's a bad film. I think as far as films in general go, it's okay. But I think the way that it dwells on the exact same, like, moral dilemma that every other Jurassic anything film has had before it is so devoid of anything real. It's redundant in its own world.
I think that's best reflected in the plot point of the mutated dinosaurs. So the island that they're on is basically an island that was used as a research and development place for genetic mutations in the dinosaur to get rid of dinosaur fatigue, to make, godlike human intervened dinosaurs, which that's what they were in the first place. But I guess to fuck with them even a little bit more, just to, test the limits of human capabilities. And then it didn't work if something happened. Mind you, a Snickers bar got into one of the doors. Snickers bar wrapper got into one of the doors.
Like, that is like the thing they had.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, and so they're on the island with, like, natural dinosaurs, which aren't very natural themselves, and then the mutated dinosaurs. But nothing is ever said about the fact that those dinosaurs are mutated, other than Captain America Civil War, Bucky was frozen-esque montage sequence of Jonathan Bailey just looking at mutated dinosaurs in crypts and crying-ish. which is not enough. I feel like if they dwelled on that a little bit more, that would have made this film marginally more interesting.
Yeah, I think it tries to say a few things of like science being for everyone and like big companies, or like dinosaur fatigue, or like Scarlett Johansson or Mahershala Ali's characters who are basically bounty hunters and like their ethicalities of stuff. But it never says anything beyond like a cool one liner or like a cool like quote, and then just moves on. It never really delves into anything of like what are the implications of any of this. And like, I think Anu, you can really, really talk to this of like why they keep making these facilities in like Costa Rica, which is like, again, if I'm correct, from the book.
Yeah.
It could have talked about, for example, the people who live near this and how they are continuously like harassed by dinosaurs who they never asked to be brought back.
That very true. Okay, so like the book and the first two films, and I'm going all the way back to the 90s. The first two, Jurassic Park and The Lost World, both deal with the idea of a Site A and a Site B. And I think what was really interesting about like those first two is that no one who ever went on the island was a civilian. Like, no one was there as a tourist. No one was there to just look at dinosaurs. So in a sense, this rebirth is bringing back that idea of like dinosaurs being an economic kind of product.
Yeah.
Where that is how it was in the original books. They were testing the ability of the park to exist and function. It was the first time they'd ever brought any humans on the island who were not dispensable. And the book makes a really good criticism of what people are treated as dispensable and indispensable by the narrative itself.
Yeah.
It opens, and the first thing the book ever says is called The Bite of the Raptor.
Yes.
And it talks about how this young boy died while working at Jurassic Park because he was like mauled by a velociraptor. And the book makes a real indictment of the fallibility of people in the third world and the kind of like worthlessness of their lives and their labor in the ultimate creation of Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
And it's also kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy in the way that it doesn't really dwell on any of those realities beyond the narrative of the book itself. While the book criticizes it, it also kind of manifests it.
Yeah.
Does continue to focus on the white people who came to the island, who were paid to be there.
It falls guilty of its own criticism very much.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yes. And The Lost World, which is the second book in the series and the second film, both deal with a Site B, where like there are hints of it existing in Jurassic Park, the first one, but like the idea of a Site B is that they put dinosaurs there that could not be like given to the public in a sense.
Yeah.
There's a line in Jurassic Park where Henry Wu says, "We have expressly tried not to breed the biggest sauropods, but there are animals within an excess of 4 tons walking this island, and we have to find a way to feed them." So Site B exists to give those dinosaurs a place to exist. And I don't think Site B was a good narrative decision for the books to begin with. But coming to the films, where Jonathan Bailey, Scarlett Johansson, and Mahershala Ali and their entire crew end up is Site B.
Yes.
Now, why they keep going back to Costa Rica is also explained in the film. They talk about like oxygen saturation and such.
They also talk about like it being warmer there as well.
Yeah, like Jurassic climate.
Yeah.
It's the closest you can get to it. And what you mentioned about the one-liners and the kind of like the frivolousness of the entire film, there's such an internal conflict with the film, with its own tone. It doesn't know ever whether it's trying to take something seriously or not.
And I think that just talks about the fact that the film doesn't know why it was made either.
No.
I also feel like I agree with what Anu was saying in the sense that the tone, like freshly from seeing it, the tone just feels like it was made because this IP needed to be continued. And because it does not honor the messaging of the books or of, whatever messages the previous films might have been trying to convey, which I don't think they were that great to begin with. And neither does it like talk about the joys of scientific discovery, the ethics of, the creation of these animals, the treatment of the animals then as like the commodification of living beings as well, which I feel like is something that you can draw out of like the source material. They had so much that they could have chosen from. and they ended up choosing nothing, kind of, question mark. Also, like, heart medicine.
Yeah,
Really? That's the best you could come up with?
I think it kind of feels like it's written itself into a corner and has very unsuccessfully tried to back out from it, and is just very much like pick itself off and just put it itself in a different corner now, because it's just again going back to something that's already done instead of, again, I feel like there are things it could have talked about that it just never really purposely engages with.
I think, say what you will about the Jurassic World like revival of the Jurassic Park originals,
Yeah.
but it was the most invention on this IP that anyone had gotten in 20 years. Like, the idea that at least they somehow made the park work, which goes against the thesis of the original film and the original book, which is that you can't make this park work. But regardless, I'm not bitter about that at all. They found a way to make it work.
And I think this film sounds like a video game. Our friend said this without watching the film and just hearing about it. And like, even when I think back to some of the like visuals they use, not just the plot, but the visuals are also very like, they're too glossy for me. Everything's too shiny. Nothing is gritty enough. The leaves are too shiny. The scenes where their dinosaurs eat them are too shiny. Scarlett Johansson always has a superb tan and glow on her, which again goes back to like the treatment of women in action films.
Exactly.
And even the dinosaurs are too, I feel like, sanitized and shiny, and like, why are their teeth white?
No, like, I was very excited by this detail. It's a really, really niche detail. It's a thing that came back from the books. And I'm like really, really happy that they did execute it. The T-Rex has tooth decay.
Oh.
And only dinosaur that had tooth decay.
And like, it was a plot point in the Jurassic Park novel that the vets at Jurassic Park had to tranquilize the T-Rex so that they could brush its teeth.
Amazing.
On the video game part, firstly, I do want to add to that. I think what would be the better way to phrase that, it feels like a very generic action adventure game type that. In that way, I do agree with that. Although I would also like, in my opinion, I think some of the visuals were really fun to me. I liked the D-Rex, I think it was called. I don't know. I just like the funky little mutant-looking dinosaur. I think this is what Gareth Edwards has done reasonably well. He did that in Creator as well, who directed this film, where he's able to use lower budget and like less CGI to get a better result at the end. And I think that's just how he was using it. I personally enjoyed that. I think that was fun. Also, like thinking about the T-Rex scene that happens with the raft, I did enjoy that. I can understand the idea, like some of that visuals just sometimes do feel like too shiny or glossy, like you said. Personally, I did like some of the designs as well. And I think for what it was doing, I think some of the look did work well for me.
I can't agree about the D-Rex because the D-Rex head is an exact copy of the Mutt from the Hunger Games Mockingjay movie. And I could not see past that.
Yeah, I think the filmmakers talked about it being like an inspiration from like Alien as well. And I think you could also see that fully.
Yeah, it's Alien, Hunger Games, etc., etc. Yeah, no.
The T-Rex thing reminded me, the Snickers bar reminded me, a part of my issues with this film's tone is the way that they shoehorned in the brand deals.
Oh, 100%. I think it takes me out
in
so
the sense
quickly.
That I could count them off, and I did. I took notes. New Balance, owned by Nike, so they both come in. Altoids, M&M's, Doritos, Snickers,
Lay's.
Every single time that I saw a brand, it pissed me off. Not because the brand is bad, although it could be, but because every character had to go out of their way to either, like, on the boat when they're trying to navigate their way through this Mosasaurus attack, some kid in the back is eating M&Ms.
Yeah, I agree. It's just so...
Is this film a joke to you? You almost died.
When they're trying to look for the people they're trying to save and they're looking at footprints, there was no need for her to go, a dinosaur wearing Nikes? Shoes! You could have said shoes!
Yeah, I fully agree. And also the issue I find more egregious as well is this is a film where product placement can technically work really well because, again, you could have talked about it in like other relations. I don't think in this specific film, but the idea of a park that is merchandising, that's like a very heavy thing of like the whole idea of Jurassic World Park is, oh, we can sell so much of like extra. It's like, okay, brand tie-ins make sense. It's just here they feel so egregious and so forcefully put in that they take you out.
A great example of this exact product placement working is Jurassic World 2015.
Yeah,
Because it dealt with the park model. Parks naturally have brand tie-ins.
exactly.
So when you say things like McDonald's, when you see things like Pandora, you're not taken out of the narrative. It's natural to the way that the film is shot. It's natural to where it's set.
Again, just to like round us off, it doesn't feel like this film was made intelligently, which sucks.
Anu, I would like you to close this off with like your thoughts. But I think there is some places where this film could go to actively feel renewed again. I don't think people are tired of dinosaurs based on just this film's opening and how it's doing in generally. But I do think people are tired of like mediocre action films, and I do not want this to do more of the same.
No, I think a lot of things are very good about the Jurassic franchise.
Mm-hmm.
And when we start veering away from what the franchise is about, which is human beings playing God, when you start treating something with so many ethical dilemmas like Jumanji, you're not treating fiction with the responsibility it has to the real world. And to an extent, it does.
And I think that also just makes for a weaker plot at the end.
It does. It really does. And I thought this film was too unrealistic, and it's literally a film about dinosaurs. Write better.
So those are our thoughts. Thank you for tuning in. This podcast is produced solely by us with musical assets from Pixabay. See you again next time.
Bye-bye.